Universal Orlando Resort is gearing up for the opening of Epic Universe, but until that time, it sounds like Comcast is saying that they're not making as much money as they should be in the Orlando area. In fact, it sounds like theme park revenue is down, but that might not be a bad thing. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me today is not just my good friend, Mr. VashSky, but also Theme Park Wizard is here. Wizard, so glad you could join us today, and I love when you join us to talk about Universal Studios.
Thank you for inviting me, and I love talking to Universal. I'm having a great time.
So we've got a story today out of, I think, Travel Weekly, but if you haven't watched it, I was over on the Valiant Renegade channel during the Comcast earnings call, and there was a lot that kind of flew under the radar there. So for those of you who say we don't cover it, we definitely do cover it. Whether or not we make a headline out of it is a different matter entirely. Vash, guide us through this story if you don't mind.
Yes, absolutely. This by Travel Weekly. Comcast reports third quarter dip in theme park revenue. This by Jamie right there. Comcast theme park revenue was down 5.3% in third quarter, which executives attributed to continued lower attendance at domestic theme parks compared to what was a record-breaking 2023. But excitement is high around the opening of Epic Universe in Orlando next May. Once Epic opens, Universal Orlando will be transformed into a weeks-long vacation offering 4 theme parks, a city walk dining, retail and entertainment district, and 11 hotels, said Mike Cavanaugh, president of Comcast. Epic will build on everything we've excelled at in the present and in the past and make it even better by infusing iconic storytelling with cutting-edge technology in 5 fully themed worlds. Cavanaugh called Epic Universe the most groundbreaking theme park ever introduced in the United States. And again, as we were covering over before the show actually started, this is going to be the most recent theme park to be added to North America from the big 2. The first one since the last one, which was also a Universal theme park, that being Islands of Adventure. So, Universal is just kind of climbing its way up there. Jason Armstrong, Comcast CFO, said the company expects to spend around $150 million on pre-opening costs for Epic in the fourth quarter of this year. And the first quarter of the next year, in the third quarter, Epic-related costs were minimal at around $20 million. There was a lot to be said about that $150 million, right, Jonas?
Yes. This was fascinating. And on the call, even Valiant and I both were chuckling at the idea that the Wall Street guys were like $150 million. Okay, well, when are you spending this $150 million? And what have you, is that before and after? I mean, they were really focused on this $150 million in preparation costs for this multi-billion-dollar theme park. It's a fascinating number for them to get caught up on because $150 million, that's how much they spend to advertise a big blockbuster movie. And if it flops, no one asks how much money they spent on advertising. And meanwhile, theme parks are essentially a cash printer. Sometimes they shut down. It's very rare that a theme park will fully shut down when you're talking about someone on this scale. I mean, River Country comes to mind as a minor project, or the Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel, which was such a specific thing here. The idea of spending $150 million to advertise something that has merchandise, hotels, theme park memorabilia. This is the kind of thing where I really wonder why they're asking the questions that they're asking. There's a small side note here for those of you who care about the business side of this, but Comcast is a cable company that happens to own a film studio that owns a theme park company. So if any of those divisions just lost $150 million, I don't want to say it's no big deal because it's $150 million, but it is the very definition of immaterial. But they were really worried about their $150 million over several years.
which is crazy. I'm reminded about the Lionsgate CEO who recently had to bear the brunt of his earnings call recently. He was asked about Borderlands and so forth and how devastating that was to the financial bottom line there. And he was talking about how interest, from that film being in the can had accrued. I wonder if those interest payments were higher than this $150 million. I mean, that's kind of how low we're talking here. It's not really that great or grand in the theme park context here. The third quarter saw theme park revenue down 5.3% to $2.29 billion, and adjusted earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization down 13.8% to $983 million. Wizard, we've often talked about how theme parks nowadays, or at least from the big two, Disney and Universal, at least out in Florida, haven't been doing all that well. What can you maybe attribute that to from your unbelievable knowledge on this subject? What do you think might be going on here? Are people, I don't know, maybe they're gearing up for Epic Universe? What do you think?
Well, it seems also important to note, at least for these interviewers here, that many earnings calls now that Comcast literally said they anticipated a softer year the whole year. So this shouldn't be a surprise that they have a dip in third quarter revenue, because they're anticipating it. Because again, I feel like many people are waiting the next year to go to Epic Universe and do that whole vacation over there. Also, I think, things in general are expensive here in the economy now. So I feel like, if you have to pick a trip, pick a year to go, obviously you want to pick the year when the new theme park opens, rather than 2024, where nothing's really opening at Disney World or at Universal. So, don't want to waste your flight money there. So I feel like it's not too bad. It's like it's what they call like the calm before the storm. It's like the calm before the storm. Next year, watch those earnings calls and like next fall for the May segment. I think they'll be exploding.
I agree. And of course, this is the thing that we often bring up here on That Park Place. Universal Studios has Epic Universe, and they have some top tier IP in that park. But there's also the fact that if this is a threat to Disney in any way, they already have an expansion pad. They have expansion pads for this park, and they also have enough space for another theme park there in the Universal area. There's maybe some land available down the street from Boeing. There's also Great Britain, UK, Universal UK or Universal Great Britain, whatever they end up naming that project. There's the Plano, Texas park. There's the Halloween Horror Nights thing that's going on in Las Vegas. There's a lot of room for Universal to not just do this, but do this again, because they have a wide swath of IP and they have a fully functioning, they call it Universal Creative instead of Imagineering over there. And they're, from everything we've seen, they're doing a fantastic job of it. Also, the fact that theme parks are not the end all be all of the company. I always get a little bit of pushback whenever I say this, but Disney is a theme park company. It sounds ridiculous that I would get pushback on that, but in the previous year, 70% of all revenue for the Disney company was theme park revenue. This is a company that owns a lot of cable networks, and used to be 44 to 50% of the entire box office take out there globally was Disney. And for them to have 70% of their revenue be theme parks, people usually call me out on that. And I always point out that by the numbers, they're a theme park company. So when the theme parks soften, that actually affects everything else. And that is, of course, that Disney Plus has still yet to make any money for the company, of course. So Comcast has a theme park division. Disney is a theme park company. So when Comcast makes more money in the theme park division, that is a big deal.
Absolutely. And this is why I think the strategy from Universal looking to capitalize on this by having these vacation packages, and where they're selling 3, 4, 5 day vacation packages, it's only going to give you 1 day at Universal. I think it's a shrewd move there if you're really looking to jump right into Epic Universe on day one, to employ such a tactic as this Frommer's article actually points out here. Let me go ahead and get it on screen. The cost of visiting Universal Epic Universe will gut your bank account and Disney's. I like this article because it does talk about this. If Universal requires guests to spend 3 days on its own campus before checking out the buzz around Epic Universe, many families will decide to take those 3 days out of Disney's share of their vacation time. That's most significant right there. And it also talks about Disney's problems that I don't think are going to be turned around in the short term, like I think Epic Universe will turn around Comcast's theme park prospects. You can see right here, as the spires, dueling coasters, and monumental rockwork of Universal Epic Universe rise from an empty parcel of land near the convention center, Disney has been ensnared in boardroom wars and resting on the laurels of its 4 established theme parks. The mouse, stuck in a spiral of increasing prices and consumer dissatisfaction, has announced no major changes to combat competition from Epic Universe when it opens in 2025. It's as if Disney Parks executives assume that they will always have a lock on the family theme park business. Of course, they've announced some things at D23 Expo, and now we have a little bit more details on some of those things at Brazil. But those things aren't going to be making its way into their theme parks in 3, 4, 5 years. So for that amount of time, Epic Universe is going to be the number one place to visit in the Orlando area.
Right. And not only that, Epic Universe, but don't forget, Universal is not going to leave its other 2 parks just sitting there abandoned pretty. Rip Ride Rocket's coming down next year. It's rumored to replace with a version of Hollywood Drift coaster. That doesn't take too long to put up. That could be ready maybe by 2026. So Universal will have several new things open before the first Magic Kingdom expansion even opens.
Actually, I wanted to ask you about that. And I think this is something that people on this channel would enjoy hearing your thoughts on it, Wizard. What's the latest you've heard on Legend of Zelda and Pokemon and where those might be going at Universal theme parks? The previous rumor was Pokemon is replacing the Simpsons ride, and that Legend of Zelda would go and replace the Lost Continent at Islands of Adventure. So do you have any update on that?
So the last I heard on the Pokemon was opening in 2030, still replacing the Simpsons, but opening in 2030. It's funny that and the Rip Ride Rocket seems to keep flipping, but I think Rip Ride Rocket is more in dire need of ripping out. So I think they slightly pushed Pokemon back maybe a year to start 2027, opened up in 2030. So it's because the new Rip Ride Rocket thing will be done because that's ending its service life. And then Zelda, I've
Operational
heard
cost, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard Zelda, last was a long time ago, but I heard 2027 for Zelda. So, but the same spots, Lost Continent and Simpsons for Pokemon there.
Fascinating. Well, I'm looking forward to that, which is the next big thing that they can do. And currently, I mean, it's hard because we don't want to be down on Disney in every video we do, but Universal is a response to Disney, and now Disney needs to be responding to Universal. But Universal has, again, a list of IPs that they can access that are not open to Disney because Disney does everything in-house. They can't even get Bluey in the theme parks right now, which I'm a little grateful for because I don't really want to see them in a Disney park. But anyhow, Vash, is there anything we need to throw in here before we wrap this up?
Yeah, the Rip Ride Rocket thing, that sounds about right to me because I know the operational costs for that coaster have only gone up over the years, and they've spent a lot of money maintaining that. I would think it'd be prudent to get rid of that coaster as quickly as possible. And also, too, the Fast and Furious coaster at Hollywood is rising out of the ground. They're going to want to capitalize on the technology utilized there. That's going to be really fun to actually see. But Universal's prospects just looking up. They're not slowing down, guys. Even after Epic Universe, there will be phase 2s and so forth that they're working on currently right now for that specific park and for the entire resort area. Don't expect them to slow down by any means.
So one question I need to ask about the Fast and Furious coaster. Is it a family coaster or is it a family coaster?
Oh, it's a family coaster.
All right. We want to throw this to our commenters. What do you think about all of this? Are you going to be visiting Epic Universe? Are you looking forward to what is going on out there at Universal Studios Hollywood? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to check out Theme Park Wizard over there on his channel. There is a podcast there featuring Vash and Wizard together called Theme Park Universe. That's hosted on Theme Park Wizard, right?
Yes.
Right. And of course, my favorite place to follow Theme Park Wizard is over there on X. Be sure to check all of that out. Like this video if you like this video, and if you want to have Theme Park Wizard back on the channel. And of course, consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.